Wait a minute, I'm coming. We have a lot to talk about. Hello and welcome to another episode of What Travis Says. My name is Travis. Let's talk about Doctor Who. More specifically, Jodie Whittaker. Jodie Whittaker was just cast as the 13th Doctor. And yes, you're getting a video on a Sunday. Let me just catch my breath for a second. Whew. The BBC released a promo video of a hooded figure walking through the woods and a lot happens. The key sparks into the hand and the hood comes back and it's Jodie Whittaker and she walks towards the TARDIS and it announces Jodie Whittaker as the 13th Doctor. Now if you don't know the name Jodie Whittaker, that's kind of understandable, especially if you've never seen Broadchurch. And if you have watched Broadchurch, you're probably a fan of David Tennant, aka the 10th Doctor. I personally like to think that Jodie and David were having some sort of conversation about the Doctor, and Jodie was all, yeah, I bet it's not that hard playing the Doctor, and David's like, oh no, it's pretty hard, and she's like, I bet you 20 quid I can get the role. Which then would have been pretty easy because Chris Chibnall, the new Doctor Who showrunner, is the creator of Broadchurch. Ah, it's all full circle. At least that's how things went with my headcanon of real life, but at the very least we know that Chris Chibnall has a very first-hand experience with her acting chops. So Jodie Whittaker will be replacing Peter Capaldi in the titular role of the Doctor, and the big news with that is that the Doctor will actually be played by a woman for the first time since, well, ever. I guess Moffat was right. This regeneration is going to be unlike any regeneration we've ever seen. I'm just kind of disappointed that Moffat's statements and plot points have just been so on the nose lately. This is a regeneration that we've never seen before. The Doctor regenerating into a woman. I mean, it's so painfully obvious. The thought crossed my mind and I thought, no, there's no way that that's what he means. So I didn't even talk about it. Turns out, that's exactly what Moffat meant. So what does this mean for the show as a whole? Well, there is a lot of change going on. Stephen Moffat is leaving. Peter Capaldi is leaving, obviously. Michelle Gomez has left. Pearl Mackie and Matt Lucas are presumably gone. So that gives the new showrunner, Chris Chibnall, plenty to work with. A new Doctor, new companions, no heavy ties to previous storylines, except for Gallifrey. Gallifrey's always going to be a thing. But Whittaker's entrance marks the very first time that a white man will not be playing the role, and as expected, the fandom is pretty divided. Many people see this as a step in the right direction and love the idea of a female Doctor. They feel that it's important for representation, especially with a character that can regenerate every single cell in their entire body. And see, that's just it. Even biologically, it's not a representation or equality thing, it's an odds thing. Regeneration of a Time Lord, provided that you stay human-esque, is essentially a flip of the coin. It's highly improbable that you will get heads 12 times in a row. Okay, not coin flip, it's more like a roll of the dice, but every time you roll the dice you just get white guy. Rassilon, the Corsair, the Master, they've all been female at some point, or at least played by a female actress. And though there have been many hints and allusions toward the fact that we might get a female shift in the future, there are a lot of people that are not on board with the whole female Doctor thing. They're calling it political correctness gone mad, saying that the social justice warriors have finally won. Someone even said, that's it, the next James Bond is going to be a female. But to that I say, that's just silly. Her name would be Jamie Bond. I said on Twitter a few weeks ago, when someone says, leave politics out of Doctor Who, it's usually right after the show comments on something that is against their personal beliefs. Science fiction usually comments on political and social topics. Doctor Who is not a safe space bubble for your personal beliefs, and the same thing could be said for the Doctor being played by a female. Look, I know some of you are very unhappy with this decision, and I get it, but it all comes down to your reasoning of why you're unhappy with it. And if you are unhappy with it, don't assume that it's any one gender's fault. I know a lot of men are kind of happy, or at least indifferent about the female Doctor, and there are a lot of females that are very unhappy with the Doctor not being a male anymore. I feel that Jodie Whittaker is a solid actress who will bring a fresh take to the character far beyond that of her gender. Because at the heart of it all, the gender of the character of the Doctor shouldn't matter. Male, female, black, white, blonde, ginger, young, old, it shouldn't matter. Physical attributes of a character will not change the essential message of Doctor Who. And while I do understand the idea of a female Doctor has to be the best choice in actor based on ability and not gender, I think that the same should be said for the other side. A male doctor has to be the best choice in actor based on ability and not gender. As for Chris Chibnall, I feel like with his statement about how the next Doctor is not going to be any sort of gimmick, I feel like Jodie Whittaker is the right choice. Chibnall said that Whittaker's audition blew them away, that she's funny, inspiring, a super smart force of nature. And even Capaldi believes that Whittaker is going to be a fantastic Doctor. But there are crowds of people that are so unhappy with the casting choice that they are swearing off the show for good starting now. And that's too bad because I feel like Capaldi deserves strong farewell numbers. Remember when Matt Smith was announced as the Doctor and everyone thought that he was too young or that he looked kind of strange, and then we watched the 11th hour and a lot of people, myself included, quickly warmed up to him? All I ask is that you give Jodie's first full episode a chance. Just see what she's all about. And rest assured, we will be talking a lot more about Jodie Whittaker in the coming months before her appearance on the show. In the comments down below, let me know if you are a fan of Jodie Whittaker, if you've even heard of her before this announcement, if you watch Broadchurch. I need to catch up on Broadchurch. I have not watched very much of it at all. So I know what I'm doing over the next couple weeks, catching up on Broadchurch. As always, my name is Travis. Thank you for listening to what I have to say, and you will see me tomorrow.